Hilux. They're unbreakable, aren't they?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Project Luxy. I'm Ronnie Dale from Four Wheeling Australia and you're watching episode 10. Yes, episode 10. In this episode, engine protection from water, contaminants and cholesterol. Yes, I said cholesterol. More on engine cholesterol a bit later. Also covered in this video, the fuel tank, the fuel capacity, the fuel range. And how many tanks do I have? Water tank, the water solution. What have I done? That is one of the most asked questions for a while now. And I'm finally going to reveal how it's plumbed up, how it's pressured, how it's also gravity fed, why? All these questions. Skip points down below. Let's get to it. Engine protection. Let's start with the outside of the vehicle being the snorkel or raised air intake. This is a Toyota raised air intake. It's not in fact rated as a water sealed snorkel because it's joined with a bit of foam on the inside. So you might be asking the question, why did I go for this and not a Safari or a TJM? I looked at all the options. I even test drove a vehicle that had a Safari snorkel on it and it was sitting here, it looked ugly and it was obstructing my view. I just didn't like it. Now, they make good snorkels for Land Cruiser 70s, but not for Hilux. They didn't make it to the shape. The Toyota one sits nicest to the shape. It was more of a looks decision over, well, it was practicality as well. This doesn't obstruct my vision. The way it's shaped, I can't even see it sitting inside the driver's seat, and that's what you want. This is not a snorkel. This is a raised air intake, although it handled water crossings fine. Not a drop of water went into my airbox. Having said that, I am planning on putting Celastic around on the join because at the moment it's just foam. What are the reasons for having a snorkel? It's not just water crossings, even though that's all we just talked about. It's about having raised air so you're not sucking in the dust down here. Also the air intake from down here that goes up into your motor can also be a lot warmer. And there's a higher potential for you to take water in your vehicle as well. So your wading depth on a Hilux is about here. Having a raised air intake or a snorkel, the wading depth is up here, although it's not waterproof. If you get stuck in a water puddle and it's above your airbox, I don't care what snorkel you have, what airbox you have, water's going to get in there one way or another. And it's usually through the bung, the plug on the bottom of your airbox. I would suggest if you're going to do anything like this, get 2 plugs, fill one with Sikaflex, that's your water crossing one, and leave one as it is, because when you're not doing water crossings and you're going through a heavy rainstorm or something, some water will make its way into your airbox. At least it's got somewhere to escape, although most of the time it'll evaporate anyway. In the airbox, I have replaced the paper filter with a K&N filter, and I've always used K&N filters in my first Hilux and my Falcons before that. And the Cruiser, although in the Cruiser now, I've been testing out or using a uni filter for a while, I prefer the K&Ns. So I'm going to go back to a K&N on that one as well. It's easier to clean, and I've never had any problems with them whatsoever. So that's why I use them. I'm going to buy a second one pretty soon. I just wanted to make sure that this one actually fit the Hilux properly, this being the new motor, and it all fits pretty good. Still on filters, we're going to go from the air filter to the secondary fuel filter. Secondary fuel filter by PDP on a bracket with diff breathers as well. I'll get to these breathers shortly, but that's all on this one bracket, nice and neat right here. This has been in a vehicle for 20,000 Ks. Now the reason why you haven't heard about it yet is because we had to do other things, and also I like to do a bit of a longer term test on things that are inside an engine bay. I've had the exact same kit in my Cruiser for over 250,000 kilometers. This has been in the Hilux for 20,000 kilometers, so I'm happy to talk about it now. Trav is going to fill you in on some details about this kit.
Fuel filtration, do you need it or don't you need it? The first thing we always get asked, dealerships or manufacturers don't cover fuel contamination, so it's in your best interest to protect your investment. Obviously adding things to protect your investments, the first thing we always say you should add to your vehicle. So fuel filtration as well, should it be pre or post fuel filtration? We always put it as a pre-filter, so fuel tank, pre-filter, factory fuel filter, engine. So that's how we plumb it up here. We run a 5 micron filter brass barbs as well. The filter head all comes pre-sealed. You're going to notice that it's got a glass bowl on the bottom, so you can see if you've got water settlement or contamination. Some vehicles, depending on other accessories, can be a little bit hard to see down here. If you get a mirror and a light, you can always have a closer look, and it's got a water cock valve you can drain down here as well.
So what's the point of having two diesel filters? Why not just one? This is a second chance. This will catch it before the factory filter does, so you're not going to have those lights on your dash and all that kind of stuff. Also, this has a water separation bowl on the bottom, so you can actually see when you look at it with a torch if you're worried about it. Even if you drive around in the city and you don't do too much remote travel, you can still get contaminated fuel. So for me, personally, this is a mod I'll do to any vehicle. Will it void your warranty? I don't know. It comes down to interpretation of each dealer, I'd say. I can't speak for all the different dealers, but what I will say is, or what I will question is, does your vehicle manufacturer cover your engine for contaminated fuel? If they don't cover the warranty for normal contaminants through your normal filter, then there's nothing really to worry about. So it's a funny argument, that one. And I bring this up because people ask that question.
Just a quick tip too, so when you are changing your 5 micron filter, what you want to check is on the bottom of the bowl there's an O-ring here. That doesn't stick to the bottom of the filter. You discard the filter and you screw the bowl on without the O-ring. You may get it to prime and start, however it's going to suck air and give you grief later on, so just make sure you leave that on there.
Next up for review is the catch can. Now this one has a pin on it too, so you can actually check the oil level on it, and it's only got a tiny bit in there. This is a recent addition and has only been in a vehicle for about a month now. And let's hear some words from Travis, who can explain it much better than I can.
Catch cans and what they do. From the intake system, we're trying to reduce the oil intake that then mixes with the exhaust gas recirculation valve. Obviously the dry sooty gas sticks to the oil residue on the intake, then layer after layer. It's pretty much like cholesterol in the body. It doesn't happen straight away, early years of its life. It's something that happens over time. So we're putting it in as a preventative measure. This is an intake manifold off a VDJ Land Cruiser, the V8 variant. What you've got here is the inside top hat of the intake manifold. This is the intake side of the top hat. You can see it's nice and clean. This is where the EGR valve adapter pipe goes to. When the two mix together, this is what you're ending up with, a jar of Vegemite.
In layman's terms, to prolong the life of your engine, or to prolong the cleans, the intake cleans of your engine, that's what this is here for. And in my point of view, when you go to modify an engine on a vehicle, before you do like turbos and all that other crazy stuff, which is pretty cool, not necessary, but pretty cool, always think about the fuel filter, the secondary fuel filter, and the catch can first. Those are the two things. If anyone asks me what I recommend they do to their engine when it comes to performance-wise, before you even worry about that, get those two things first and consider a snorkel and some diff breathers. That's the first port of call. And they're all very affordable things. They're not like a $1,000 item or anything like that. And most of the stuff you can DIY as well. You can actually put it in yourself with pretty good fitting instructions. In fact, I fitted this myself under the supervision of Travis from PDP because he wanted to see how easy it was. And the rule of thumb goes, if I can do it, most other people can do it as well. We're now talking about the diff breathers right here, the kit. Now, one of the most annoying things about when you do your breathers on your vehicle, unless you have somewhere to put them all, like a uniform place or a mount or something, they can get messy. You end up putting one at the back, one at the front, one here, one there. Sometimes one inside your canopy if you've got one of those in the back of your vehicle. Having an actual kit is pretty damn handy. So this is where all mine are. It's the same system that's in the Land Cruiser 70, 79 that I have. Same thing, in the same location.
What we've got is we've got the front diff. Yes, it's got electric actuator as well, so we're teeing that into here as well. We've got the transmission, then we've got the transfer case, and we've got the rear diff. It's all plumbed in. It's all mounted on top of the fuel filtration bracket, so we're not drilling any extra holes. It's a nice easy combo. The bracket's been designed to work hand in hand with it.
And the whole point of having a breather kit is to prevent water from ingesting into your diffs. If your diffs are super hot and you go through a very cold water crossing, they are still going to suck in water through the housing, through the seals, It's incredible how it still gets in there. So always let your vehicle cool down before you go through super cold water. It's just a matter of just pulling up, checking the crossing, which you should do anyway, then go across. Because if your diff is super hot or your gearbox is super hot, it's still going to draw water in somehow. However, this will prevent most of it because it'll breathe from here, but if it's super cold and your diff is super hot, it can still get in. The main tank that we have underneath, we've replaced. 80 litre Toyota factory tank, which was plastic, came out, and we put in a steel 150 litre Brown Davis tank underneath. We did it as a DIY install. We're midway installing the tank. We've just pulled the Toyota tank out and we got the big 150 Brown Davis to go in. So much room under there now, but it won't be after we put that in. Our torque's helping me here. And now the instruction says 2 hours. What do you reckon, mate?
I forgot the 0. Definitely.
So that sender comes out and actually goes into this one here. So we've got to take extra care of that. There's the other tank. Before it was put in.
Voila.
One fuel tank ready to go. Has effectively almost doubled my range and almost doubled my capacity. You know, we don't need another 10 litres and we would have been in the magic double figure. But with the extra 50 litres in here, I now have 200 litres of fuel I can carry with me. So my range is roughly between 1,200 kilometres and 1,500 kilometres. That is my total range. If I only rely on the tank that's underneath, we're looking at about 1,000 k's, thereabouts. Now, even with the 33s. Here's my automatic filler. Got our siphoner here, out the jerry, ratchet strap here. We're gonna go have some lunch now. This will sort itself out. What do you reckon, Tools? Be done by tomorrow? Just
Oh, at least.
it takes longer to fit in the tank.
It's a litre every 5 hours.
As mentioned earlier, it does use the same sender from the factory tank. All you need to do is adjust the wire at the end of the float so you get an accurate reading when you're looking at your gauge. We found it quite easy to adjust. Travelling in remote outback Australia, fuel and water is super essential. You can't go without it. There is a place in a ute that is the most useless area of all, behind the headboard. That is exactly where I wanted to store my water like I've done in past utes. I took my ideas to Grubber Customs and they happen to be already working on something very similar. A twin tank. Fuel on one side, water on the other side, and it filled the most useless area in utes, behind the headboard. The only difference is with their tank they went above and beyond to make sure that it fit all ute tubs with canopies, all hard lids, and it can fit behind drawer systems. So this fits most utes out there.
Fuel. The extra fuel that I carry. This is my Bowser style. Now I've done it this way so that on tag-alongs or anyone I travel with, if they run out of fuel, I can simply fill them up. All we'll do is press a button over here. There we go. Now we're pumping the fuel in. It's basically like having 2.5 jerry cans, I should say. It's semi-mounted, so I can take it, remove it. The pump is loud as hell and it takes a long time to drain. But the thing is, it's for when you're at camp and you want to take the rest of your fuel and put it over to your car. That's what this style is for. It's not a super fast pump. It doesn't need to be super fast. The tank itself is mounted at the back there on the headboard. And so it's an ingenious place to mount it because it's over the rear axle. It's as far in towards the cab as it can go. And it's in the far to reach place because in a tub with a hard lid or even a canopy, there's not much you can do at the back there. What do you do with that area? You utilize it for water and fuel. And that's what I've done. My mate who did the tank for me is John at Grubber Customs. This is the prototype. He is making a second tank for me. And the reason why this is the prototype is because I was the one that was a guinea pig that got to test this. There's a few minor things that we're going to change on it, and those I can share with you right now. We're going to strap this down in a different way on Mark II, so that I can literally undo a couple of straps, out it comes. Right now, I do have to undo about 6 bolts. Doesn't take long. The second thing we're going to address on Mark II is not having a sender in the fuel side, because what's the point? We do need a sender in the water side because we can check the water level. We kind of want to know that. But on this side where the fuel is, you're either going to fill it up or you're going to drain it. You're not going to do anything halfway in between, and if you do, you've got a rough idea where it's at. There's no point in having a sender and having extra wiring. So that'll be deleted on the next one. Being in a tub, you can smell a little bit of diesel once you first filled it up, but hey, it's not part of the whole car, right? This is for a tub in the back of a ute. It's not for inside your vehicle. And that's about all the changes that's going to be made to the next version. Just in case I didn't mention it before, that side is water, 50 litres, and this side is diesel, 50 litres also. From a previous episode of the power, you'd already sort of have an idea of how I switch the water on, but just quickly show you again, it is that one there. There we go, there's my water. Right there, that only activates when I press the button down, and that activates the pressure pump as well. I'll show you how that works now. First of all, we have a gravity feed, just like that. And we have a pump as well. Now the whole reason for gravity feed is you are remote travel, and say your electrics fails, your pump fails, you still have a way of getting your water out, because out there, if you're stuck, water is kind of important. Especially considering that 75% of our bodies is water. We're now pre-primed and we're ready to go. So it's 4 litres per minute. If you watched the whole of Project Luxy, you're probably familiar with this tent. Or if you've seen the Land Cruiser, you'll be familiar with this tent as well. But what I wanted to show you is the fact that this reaches into there. And there's your shower room, all sorted. Great for the missus, great for the kids. 4 litres per minute, which means that if I have a 2-minute shower, it's only 8 litres that I've used. And 8 litres, a 8-litre bush shower is a lot of water, man. That is a pump back there. So the gravity one runs from the bottom all the way down here. Now from the bottom, the hose also comes out for this connection up here, which also runs along the edge here and comes up here. So that way, again, if the pump fails for whatever reason or the power fails, I can still get water out, gravity feed or gravity fed. And if I need pressure, that's this one here. Is a water tank just for remote travel? No, I don't think it is. I think having water with you, regardless of you're in the city or you're out for a day trip or you're going remote, is handy. Going remote is vital. You got to have it. In fact, when I do a big proper trip, I'll probably hook the trailer up as well anyway, so I've got all that extra water. But if I only take the Hilux and I'm going for quite a while and there's not much water out there, I'll bring a couple of jerrys with me probably, because 50 litres. That's good for drinking, but if I want to have some showers, you're going to need some extra water with you. So, drinking water comes before shower water. I may not have a coffee machine, but that's because I don't have a $6,000 electrical setup, but I don't need that. Weight added to Project Luxy. We are not adding anything else significant to the vehicle. So the weight we are going to discuss now is pretty much the end of what we're adding to it. And after we've discussed that, you can see the total result of all the stuff we've added to Project Luxy. starting with the fuel tank. We pulled the Toyota tank out, 11.5 kilos. We added 40 kilos in with the Brown Davis. So that is almost 30 kilos we added to it right there. The fuel and water tank behind me right here, 30.4 kilos, stainless steel tank. That's why the water tastes so amazing. I wasn't going to make that a plastic one, that's for sure, because I prefer the taste of water out of a stainless steel tank. I'm adding 2 kilos for the pumps, so we're adding 32.5 kilos for that tank there as well. So that's 70 kilos of stuff we put in and 11.5 we're taken out. That's a substantial amount of weight we added to the vehicle this time around. Let's not forget about all the fuel kits and the catch can and the breathers, that stuff in the front. That's about 5 kilos. So this is the final total tally for this episode, and here is the final total tally of everything we added to Project Luxy. It's mixed emotions about it, or surprises I should say. Some people are not surprised, some are very surprised, and some are ultra surprised. But that's how easy it is to add weight to your vehicle. Now I have mentioned the weighbridge, and that is coming. I'm going to do it 2 different ways. The first way I'm going to do it is pull everything out that's not attached to the vehicle, take it over, because that'll be the official GVM. Follow that, I'm going to load it up for a trip, or I'm going on a trip in a number of days. As I'm recording this, I'll go over the weighbridge on the way, and then I'll know exactly what I weigh in at. Alright guys, thanks for watching this episode of Project Luxy. Any questions, put them down below. And if you want any links to any of the products that we've discussed in this video, down below as well. It's up to you if you want to check them out, if it's something that you feel that you need. Alright, thanks for watching again guys. See you in the absolute final episode of Project Luxy, which will have the GVM and all the other things and the whole experience and everything sort of captivated, so you guys can get a bit of an idea of what it was like to go through this whole build. See you then. Pretty damn good coffee, actually.